Davante Adams to the Rams. East Palo Alto native back to the West Coast, as had been promised. Deal worth up to $46 million over 2 years, $26 million fully guaranteed, and about $23 million per year. For reference, and this is related as we're scouting out the Brandon Aiyuk trade market, Aiyuk, who's significantly younger, is at $27.5 million per year for any team who might acquire him in a trade, which is feasible up until April 1st when his year 2 money kicks in as an option bonus in this contract. The 49ers would want to offload Brandon Aiyuk before then, obviously very complicated by the ACL and the MCL tear recovery. But the Rams, they're very likely moving on from Cooper Kupp. They are looking to add another X wide receiver, and that is Davante Adams, who is 32 years old now, but still a 1,000-yard season despite a couple bad situations last year. So over the short term, he can definitely help the Rams. He's obviously not valued as a $30+ million receiver anymore at this age, at this declining part of his career, but he is a player who the 49ers are going to have to deal with in the NFC West. The last time the 49ers played against Davante Adams, it was the playoff game at Green Bay in that 2021 season. It was Adams' most recent game, his final game with a Green Bay Packers uniform on. And Dante Johnson locked him down for all of that game. That was a huge 49ers win in the snow at Lambeau Field. But now they're going to have to go up against him twice, assuming that he's healthy, against the Rams next season. Also, this has been a very busy afternoon. Jamien Sherwood, who we talked about a lot as a potential 49ers option at linebacker, signed for $15 million annually with the Jets. So free agency has not yet opened. It's going to open tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific time, and that's just the legal tampering window. The full-on free agency new league year comes on Wednesday. But players who have already been released, that's Davante Adams, they can sign with new teams right now. That's why Adams has finalized the deal with the Rams. And players can also re-sign with their existing teams if they haven't been released. That's Jamien Sherwood. So there had been some talk that Sherwood might go to San Francisco to follow Robert Saleh, his former head coach with New York, or to the Atlanta Falcons to follow his former defensive coordinator with the Jets, Jeff Ulbrich, who is now in Atlanta. But Sherwood stays with the Jets, and essentially every good linebacker has now re-signed with his existing team, except for the one with the biggest asterisk, and that is Dre Greenlaw, who only played 35 snaps last season. But $15 million per year for Jamien Sherwood, younger player, 25 years old. Bobby Wagner, $9.5 million per year, stays with Washington. Now you see linebackers, all except for Eric Kendricks and Dre Greenlaw, staying with their existing teams. So what's next for Greenlaw? Well, Albert Breer was talking about Greenlaw commanding over $10 million a year. And the more of these deals that I see, Zach Bond with the Philadelphia Eagles staying aboard for huge money after the great year that he put up, the more of these deals that I see, the more that it seems that Dre Greenlaw might be able to truly cash in free agency. That would be the bet that he'd take by taking this to free agency, and it's a bet with not too much downside because I'm sure the 49ers would not rescind the prove-it offer that they have on the table for Dre Greenlaw. I do expect San Francisco to go out and spend tomorrow. They're not going to be exorbitant spenders, but they've trimmed a lot of fat. I mean, earlier today, they released Malik Collins, and that's not official yet. They're still waiting to see if they could trade Malik Collins, but either way, they're going to move off of $10 million there. They've moved off of $68 million at the defensive tackle position over the course of the last 2 seasons, dating back to the Eric Armstead maneuver. So 49ers are playing the cost efficiency game that we expected them to play. They've stripped the interior defensive line down to the studs, and now we're waiting to see how they rebuild a defense that needed to be stripped down to the studs because the defense finished number 26 last year, number 29 against the run. So is Dre Greenlaw a possibility? Of course he is, but not at the price that linebackers are going for. We've always wondered about Dre Greenlaw's market because it's a little bit different than the other linebackers in that he only played those 35 snaps. He checked off the explosiveness. He was awesome as far as explosiveness and tackling ability went in that return against the Rams. But then he was too sore to play much more beyond that. He played a few snaps, I think 4 snaps against the Dolphins the following week, but that was it for Dre Greenlaw. So we'll see how much a team is willing to pay him. If the market is not overheated for Dre Greenlaw, maybe he does come back to the 49ers to fulfill Robert Saleh's wish. But they're obviously trying to make this happen at a price manageable point so they could build this roster as smart as they can. On that note, we are now entering the final few hours before a handful of current 49ers are eligible to talk to other teams. Those include Aaron Banks, Jalen Moore, Charvarius Ward, Dre Greenlaw, and Javon Hargrave. Those are the big name pending free agents for the 49ers. It seems that it's very possible that none of them re-signed with San Francisco. And if that ends up being the case, and if all these guys command significant money on the market this week, well, then the 49ers will stand to benefit greatly in the compensatory pick formula, which calculates how much money you've lost in free agency. So it's going to factor in how much these guys sign for. The more, the better if they leave. If Aaron Banks signs for $20 million, great for the 49ers. If Charvarius Ward signs for $18 million, great for the 49ers. The more that Javon Hargrave gets from another team, great for the 49ers. So it calculates that, and it also calculates how much you sign in free agency. And the good news for the 49ers is that Joey Bosa will not count against them in the compensatory formula if they do indeed sign him, because he was released before his contract termed out with the Chargers. He's still had a year left, so he's released early. So any signings the 49ers can make like Joey Bosa won't hurt the comp formula, and any players they let walk, like the guys that I just listed, can potentially help the comp formula. And remember that draft picks are very, very much cheaper against the salary cap than free agents. I just saw Harold Landry go for $15 million. He hasn't been good in a couple of years, but Mike Vrabel likes his edge rusher from back in the day with the Titans, and he's brought him to New England. I believe that Austin Hooper, former Stanford tight end, former Falcons tight end with Kyle Shanahan, has also re-signed there with New England. So you've got all this movement right now. Expect the 49ers to be prudent. Expect them to continue playing the comp pick game, because the comp picks are something that they've mastered. They've gotten more of those since Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch took over than any other team in football. That's something Belichick and the Patriots actually used to do a lot. But I would also expect the 49ers to show that they're still willing to spend tomorrow and moving into free agency. I would not be shocked to see San Francisco make a couple splashes, because there are a lot of roster holes to fill, but they have stripped a lot of these positions, or one in specific, the defensive tackle position, down to the studs, and the rebuilding, retooling process of a defense that really struggled last year is about to begin. Meanwhile, Davante Adams, the 32-year-old, is in LA, now with the Rams. 49ers will get to see him a couple times next year, and, well, that all ties in to the receiver market, where we await what the 49ers will do with Brandon Aiyuk. Don't you guys love the extra length of day here? We could flip this around. You could see the nice sunset barn in the background. And it is time now to say goodbye. That's your update. More coming soon. Free agency already heating up.